Together forever someday we can be. Together forever someday we can be. Together forever someday.
And that usually leads to not like the women at the office understand me. And pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better, and your family looks worse and worse, and before you know it, boom, you've lost everything.
Oh boy, another day. Well, isn't that nice? Georgia flipped, became blue. Way to go, Stacey Abrams. You rock, girlfriend. Maybe we can get your face on a $2 coin one day. Because apparently that's the best we can do for women who are American heroes. So, what is the meaning of life then? If it's not to flip the Senate and get a corrupt president booted out of office, even though he's not going to allow it to happen. The church, I'll try to remember to put the missionary pamphlet that we were giving out the last of on my mission, as I was part of the phase out group. The purpose of life. And the church came out with our Heavenly Father's plan pamphlet. And the church never really explains. As missionaries, we would do the plan of salvation. Oh, here's the planet where we all came from as spirits, and then we came to Earth, and we no longer remember the planet that we came from outer space on, and then we're supposed to learn to be good, not be gay. Literally. Then we're supposed to forced to be married to a hottie chick and have lots of hottie kids, who then go on to have more hottie kids and more hottie kids, and so on and so on and so on. Fill the whole earth. And then we talk about death and the separation of our spirit from our body in the spirit world, which for some reason there are too many Mormons who can't catch on that the spirit world is right here. It's the spirit world for the earth. We talk about it for our human bodies, but Mormons can't make the connection with the earth. Oh yeah, we go to a different planet in another dimension. Literally, I've heard Mormons say this. This is not a joke. It is a joke that it, but so anyway. And so, yeah, then we talk about 3 kingdoms of glory. And Mormons always, as missionaries, have to throw in, oh, you want the best glory. You want the best because the others are like hell. Why are they kingdoms of glory if they're like hell? But yeah, once you get into true Mormonism, as currently practiced, you begin to get horrified. Because Lucifer had a plan of happiness too. And what was that plan of happiness? Everybody's going to the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, and they're going to like it. They're going to be happy. Well, how is that going to happen when you don't like the last person on earth? I am not having sex with you. No, I don't care if you're the last person on earth. Humanity dies with me. And so, well, you're going to hell then. Fine. fine. Needs redecorating anyway. And so, you have Mormons who are completely freaked out and paranoid that their kids are going wild and dating that guy or dating that guy to become a menace to society at age 26, which, putting it in context of Brigham Young's polygamy, as he took away all the women for the Mormon boys to marry, resulted in lots of Mormon boys becoming a menace to society. Huh. Interesting. How Brigham Young set up the Mormon boys to fail. So, what then is the purpose of life? Well, it is life. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, which is incorrectly translated from both the Hebrew text and the English text. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over creeping things, creeping death, and that creepeth on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female, created he them. And here comes the very first commandment given to mankind. And God blessed them and said unto them, "Have sex, have lots of babies, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea," and blah, blah, blah. And so, everything is good, but we then get into confusion as scholars think that this is a second creation story. No, it's still the first. It's more detailed. Still from the same Egyptian petroglyph. And so man and woman are created again, as Alphabet Ben Sira tells us that the first woman was named Lilith in chapter 1. And so this chapter 2 woman is now Eve, and he explains that Lilith wanted to be on top, and Adam said, "No, I'm the man, I'm on top, you need to be in the missionary position." And she said, "Not on your life." And so we will not follow God's commandment then. You're sleeping on the couch. And so Adam complains, "Heavenly Father, she won't let me be on top." Okay, here's Eve. And Lilith is pissed and departs from the Garden of Eden, but wanders the earth as an eternal spirit because she didn't fall, and so she didn't become human. And so she then curses all children of Eve, that if they're born, she's going to cause SID syndrome. And so Elijah one day comes by, sees her, and she says, "Oh, I'm on my way to kill the Son of Man." And he says, "Oh, hey, hold on there. Let's allow Jewish families to put an amulet in the baby's room by the window to make sure that you don't sneak in and cause SID syndrome." And she says, "Okay, fine. If they've got the amulet, then they'll be safe. And the man-child can go on to save the world and at the second coming." So that's the story that explains the missing parts here in Genesis. But after they're created, commentator then says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, get out of the house, get a haircut and a real job, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." In other words, they're going to do the chunky monkey and produce little offsprings. And so in order to do this, it's necessary, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Because once you instill fear and shame and guilt, kind of ruins the mood. Sort of ruins the plan of God. And so then we get into that ruined plan. So Eve fools around with a one-eyed serpent that's not Adam's, and he tricks her, and she falls. But then Adam is the one given all the credit for the fall. Except unless you listen to Paul's words, or the redactor of Paul, the woman's to blame. And the Book of Mormon says, nope, not the woman, it's man who's to blame. And then DNC 29, 36, and 40 also confirm that. But they're cast out of the Garden of Eden now that they're clothed. So wearing clothing gets you cast out of the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is no clothes allowed. It's a nudist colony. and so flaming swords prevent Adam and Eve from going back in unless they take off their clothes. And so they then have to repent, and sure enough, here we go. And Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain. And Cain in Paleo-Hebrew is interesting. I won't go over it with you, but I've gotten a man from the Lord. If you recognize the pattern in the Bible, that every name the author tries to define as well as just give the name, which in and of itself is the definition of the name that he then explains. And so there's the explanation without getting into the explanation in Paleo-Hebrew. Cain refers to man. And how is man different than woman? Well, it's because men wear blue. Or is it green? Yeah. And so Abel, keeper of sheep. So because Abel is Paleo-Hebrew. Yeah. So there you go. There's the meaning of life right there in the Bible for you. And everybody gets confused, don't understand, and want to kill and destroy human life instead. So technically that's it. But the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints makes it very complicated. They insist that Mormons have to be sealed in the temple before they can have sex. And they teach abstinence only and before then. And Mormons, as a result, are made to feel guilty and shamed. You know, just like Lucifer caused guilt and shame. And instead of teaching Mormons about sexuality and how our bodies function, so that women don't get afraid when a man says, "Hey, what's up?" Ah! What did I say? And men don't have to fear a woman, that she's going to lead them down into the dark, forbidden paths of doom and not say hi because of that fear. And so, yeah. And you get others who say, oh no, I have to cover my whole body from the upper neck to the ends of the wrist down to the tippy toes, because otherwise men are going to desire me. Sorry, if that's the culture you create, that's the culture that men will desire. And so there is no hope for women to be safe from a man's desires. Men have learned since the Garden of Eden that maybe we don't need a woman to be naked. No, we still, no. No, that's the whole point, is getting women out of their clothes. Which confuses me as to why Mormon girls have told me that leaving a little to the imagination is better. No, it's not. What are you thinking? Who told you this? Your mother? Your father? No. So, yeah. We have a society that makes it even tougher as well, as the church isn't helping, because the economy is such that women in the church look for a man with money and a good job, career, a 5-year plan. In the older singles ward, women are a little more, do you at least have a job? Oh, what nightmare those days were. See, the younger generation of singles are, even though they want money and stuff, as long as the guy is good looking, they say, oh, he has promise, I can change him. Yeah, the older women are like, oh, do you at least have a job? I'll take part-time. And you have to give out your resume, and they then do a background check on you. It's so funny because it's true. Homer was right. Oh, what a nightmare. I was dumped off in the older singles ward. I was dating a girl. She took me to the older singles ward, dumped me off as she was hitting on the other guys. So I take it we're now broken up. Oh God. So, but yeah, the economy really trashes up the plan of salvation on earth when the church doesn't help, as the church destroys families. You know, a guy struggles to get a job that'll pay sufficiently to take care of his little family, and the church says, I'm sorry, you've got to get a better job. You know, the church isn't going to just give you things. What? I know you lost your job, but you need to work so that we can give you this temporary assistance. What? What do you mean I gotta work? Well, okay, fine. We'll do some make work for you, and we'll put you to work cleaning the church. Oh, dear God. I literally couldn't believe my eyes. The Relief Society calls me up. I'm the physical facilities representative for my ward, and it switches off in the month. So I then, it was our turn, and I get called up by the Relief Society president one day of another ward. She says, I've got some families that are going to be coming in to help you during your ward's cleanup time. And so I said, okay. And she says, call me back, give me the names of those who show up. Okay. And so the Saturday comes, and an older man in a wheelchair, hooked up to an IV tube and the breathing tube. And I said, oh, hell no. You stay right there. This is good enough. And so I called her up and said, oh yeah, this person and this person, they all showed. It just, oh my God, how the church has fallen. But I mean, if you're not going to take care of families, why are you claiming to be the church of the family? I mean, people need help in this economy. I remember the Together Forever video that we played on our missions for people, and there was a cassette that came with it as well. And because the mission paper list of required stuff to bring did not include a cassette tape, I could not listen to the cassette tapes in the missionary guide that was given to me. So I had to wait until I got out on my mission, where my third, which one? Let's see, there was Gail, Miyazaki, because it was Miyazaki who sold me his cassette player for $20. And then the other one, I think Miyazaki was third. Elder Vaitu was can't remember anymore. Can't remember the order. But I sent them all home. My first time out in the mission, and I send people home 3 in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So got to listen to the tape and listen to it over and over again. It had music and such, but it eventually occurred to me, several playthroughs, that the guy who was talking is confessing to having committed adultery. Pretty soon, the women at the office start looking better and better, and your family starts looking worse and worse, and before you know it, boom, you've lost everything. The women at the office, not the woman. How many times did you cheat on your wife? I was like, what? What's going on at work? My goodness. No clothing Fridays. I'm sure there's probably some porn video about that. Office orgy or something. Oh dear God. But that's the way the church scares Mormons, is they go to the extreme. In order to scare you. Oh no, I can't work with a woman because I might cheat on my wife. And literally, that I was concerned about that myself as a Mormon boy. In my first marriage, as I was trying to find work, getting multiple part-time jobs until I finally got the landscaping job. I was working for the Denny's trainee program for being a cook, and the hotel that took over, or that housed Denny's, came to me and said, "Hey, we want you to be the one counting the cash for the hotel." And I looked over into the back room there and saw a woman counting cash. And I said, "Oh, I'll continue to be the cook." So, yeah, the church does cause this fear in Mormons that leads to Mormons acting on that fear. And so there's no... I mean, it's just horrifying. But, I mean, yeah, you don't want to cheat on your spouse either. But if you're not going to teach your people proper sex ed, anyway. And so, it's just so frustrating as a Mormon to have wives who are not taught sex ed either. And so they're wondering, how much is too much? How much should we have? And so the first wife goes to her dad, as she claimed, and her dad said, "Oh yeah, just once a month." What? That's what he told you? Yep. Well, if you don't want it, and you don't want me, and that's what she was doing, in retrospect. She was purposely abusing me to cause me to be the one to leave. But because Mormons instill the fear that you can't get divorced because that's evil, and you become evil and you're a sinner, you're going to burn in hell. So I didn't leave, despite all the abuse that I was getting. And so yeah, then she finally realized, okay, I need other people to justify my leaving. And she got it. From the church, from the local cops, from both our parents, from the government. And so away she went. With the kids, whom she didn't even care to raise. Which made no sense. So clearly she was taking the kids just to spite me. To get that empathy when she went back home. So that she can cheat the system. And yes, she went on to get remarried. Not too many years later. Whereas I went decades before I finally found the woman formerly called my second ex-wife. Isn't it a wonderful life? What would the life be like without you? What do you mean better? Hey, aren't you supposed to get your wings by telling me that I'm supposed to have positive feelings about my life? That's the take that didn't make the final edit. It's in the DVD extras. And the savings and loan is destroyed by the bank after all. Which it finally did. All the money in the savings and loan was gone, and parents then had to pay to put money into a stock thing. Yeah, so years later my parents say, oh yeah, you've got this money that we invested in stocks. Oh really? How much do I have? Oh, just 300. Yeah. You can leave it in there if you want, and it'll continue to gain pennies on in interest for the next several decades. Maybe you can get to 400 and by the time you retire. Yeah, I'll just cash it out now. Dear God. Yeah. Which is interesting because you can easily shut down a Trump loyalist when they say, Trump has made the best economy ever. Oh, you invest in the stock market. Which stocks did you invest in? And they're like, huh? I don't invest in the stock market. Well, yet you said Trump is the greatest ever. He's made your life better, right? Because you invest in the stocks. How much are you getting here? Did you invest 100,000, millions, billions? I don't invest. So, yeah. It's easy to shut down people who are easily deceived, such as this video for Mormons. But Mormons refuse to listen. They see the title, put the thumbs down, and leave. So that on the other video I did yesterday, where I talk in the beginning, Mormons have already left. And so they don't hear that I trapped them into putting the thumbs down. So, there you go. There's the video lesson for today. It's okay to be naked. As the garments, the magic underwear, remember? It's a shield and a protection to you against the power of the adversary until the... Yeah. And so, the underwear came from Brigham Young for the sole purpose of keeping women a secret as and suppressed and oppressed and depressed and everything. But that's not how men work. Brigham Young's a perfect example of that. He had women fully dressed, but he still was a horn dog, going to the brothels after being sealed to dozens of women. But that's why we need sex ed.